Welcome to Whisperer of Madness. If you're enjoying the story, consider liking the video and subscribing. It really helps grow the channel and this community. At the age of 3, Ningzhuo moved a small furnace and crafted a new material on the spot for Sun Lingtong. Sun Lingtong sneered, "I don't even need a pill furnace, watch closely." He extended his palm, igniting a flame in the center. One by one, he threw the medicinal ingredients into the fire, quickly producing a new material. "How about it?" After inspecting it, Ningzhuo clapped his hands repeatedly. "Brother Sun, you're amazing. You can do it without a pill furnace, and it's faster and better than me." Sun Lingtong shook his head. "This is nothing at all, you have to stay humble." Ningzhuo nodded heavily in agreement. At the age of 4, Ningzhuo held a talisman brush, drawing runes on a talisman paper. He succeeded on the first try, effortlessly. Sun Lingtong was slightly astonished, realizing that he must be quicker and produce better runes than Ningzhuo. Feigning nonchalance, he yawned on purpose, his eyelids drooping, and casually held the pen. In reality, he was fully focused, completing it in one go. Ningzhuo, after comparing, gave a thumbs up and sincerely praised, "Brother Sun, you rock. Compared to you, I'm really nothing. You're truly incredible." Sun Lingtong sighed. "Geniuses are countless. Compared to them, I'm as ordinary as an ant. Little Zhuo, you must stay humble." Ningzhuo nodded repeatedly. "I know, I'll remember." At the age of 5, Ningzhuo took a deep breath and began setting up a formation on an empty array plate. 3 hours later, he wiped the sweat from his brow, feeling a bit ashamed. "Brother Sun, I failed." Sun Lingtong witnessed the entire process and was greatly shocked. Ningzhuo gave it his all, and although he failed, his ability to set up formations far exceeded the level for his age. Sun Lingtong maintained a calm exterior. "Not bad at all. Now watch me." He quickly set up the formation, completing it in just 1 hour. Ningzhuo inspected the array plate, thoroughly convinced. Sun Lingtong wiped the sweat from his forehead, thinking, "Formation techniques are not my forte. Luckily, I tampered with the array plate last night." He said to Ningzhuo, "What I did is nothing special. There are still many areas for improvement." Ningzhuo expressed strong agreement, quickly pointing out numerous deficiencies in the array plate. Finally, he proactively told Sun Lingtong, "Brother Sun, I will keep working hard. Don't worry, I won't become complacent or proud." That's good, that's good." Sun Lingtong nodded, full of relief. Inwardly, he felt uneasy. He's just 5 years old. What will happen next year? After this incident, he decided to privately allocate time to intensively study all kinds of cultivation techniques to cope with the increasingly strong Ningzhuo. The content of the 6-year-old competition was beast-taming. Ningzhuo was full of fighting spirit and confidence. "Brother Sun, my flame majestic general is very strong. I personally hatched it at the start of the school year and have been nurturing it since. For this academy's small test, I sealed over half of its strength, and it still easily ranked 5th. Sun Lingtong nodded, expressionless. "It seems your fighting cock is indeed formidable. Mine is not as good. I've only had it for over a month." He secretly laughed. In fact, more than a year ago, he realized he was struggling to suppress Ningzhuo, so he specifically inquired about the exam topics of past years. He confirmed this year's exam content well in advance. Therefore, he had been secretly training his fighting cock far longer than Ningzhuo. Ningzhuo released his flame majestic general, while Sun Lingtong released his little black. The general launched the first attack, its wings spreading like blades, charging at the opponent with a whistling wind. Little Black agilely dodged, quickly counterattacking with sharp beak and claws aimed directly at the general's chest. The two cocks fought fiercely, feathers flying, blood splattering. Ningzhuo put in his all, occasionally casting spells to protect the flame majestic general. But in the end, the general's all-out attack was evaded by Little Black. The latter sprang into the air, tearing the general's comb, sealing the victory. The general fell to the ground, barely breathing. Little Black's body also swayed, exhausted to its limit. Ningzhuo panted, his face flushed red with disappointment, his eyes dull. His body trembled, and he hurried to the arena, placing his hands on the general, using a healing spell to treat it with all his strength. The general's injuries soon stabilized, breathing steadily as it fell into a deep sleep. After a while, Ningzhuo finally raised his head, his voice low. "Brother Sun, I lost again." He couldn't hide his look of dejection. Sun Lingtong's tense mood gradually relaxed. He had originally thought he had a significant advantage, not expecting this cockfight to be so evenly matched until the very end. He knew that his victory was not honorable. He had invested much more in Little Black than Ningxiu had. Feeling guilty inwardly, Sun Lingtong sincerely praised, "You performed very well. If you had given it your all, your general would surely have been first in the academy." Ningxiu shook his head. "What does being first in the academy matter? Compared to the entire Persimmon Fire City, I'm nothing. In the entire Southern Bean Country, I don't even rank, not to mention other cultivation kingdoms. I've always been inferior to Brother Sun. I always lose." Sun Lingtong gritted his teeth, trying to comfort. "I was almost defeated just now." "Really? That last move of yours seemed to use mechanical techniques, didn't it?" Ningxiu nodded. "Yes, I usually use puppet strings to train the general. Later, referencing some cultivation technique mantras, I designed some commands. By speaking them, I can make the general fly down and attack, while also triggering the talisman deep within its feathers, greatly enhancing its offensive power." Sun Lingtong was stunned and genuinely admired. "Incredible. You're already using various methods to train your fighting cock. You haven't limited yourself to what the Academy elders teach. You're creating something new, and the practical results are impressive." Ningxiu still felt low. "Brother Sun, thank you for your praise, but you don't need to comfort me, I understand. I need to work harder. This fight exposed many of my flaws. I am really nothing compared to you all. I'm far behind. I can only work harder to bridge the gap in talent." Sun Lingtong fell silent, wondering if he had gone too far over the years. The competition at the age of 7 infuriated Sun Lingtong. "Little Zhuo, what's going on with you? Over this past year, you've made some progress in your cultivation techniques, but not much. What have you been doing? Have you been studying seriously?" Ningxiu lowered his head, admitting his mistake, telling Sun Lingtong that he had been spending time playing marble games with his classmates. When Sun Lingtong inquired about marble games, he found the game content dull and flavorless, feeling heartsick. "You were addicted to this. It's completely degrading." He sternly lectured Ningxiu for the duration of an incense stick. Ningxiu, teary-eyed, said, "Brother Sun, I won't do it again. I'll definitely study hard. I know I'm not good enough. I have too many shortcomings." Sun Lingtong, hearing this, was stunned, wondering if he had suppressed Ningxiu's achievements too much, distorting his view and depriving him of a sense of accomplishment and confidence, thereby losing motivation for self-improvement. "Actually," Sun Lingtong carefully chose his words, "Little Zhuo, you have already done excellently before. Don't belittle yourself too much." Ningxiu replied, "I know, Brother Sun, you don't need to comfort me, I understand." Sun Lingtong. In the CU garden, Li Leifeng was hosting a puppet show. Sun Lingtong slipped in, stealing the cultivator's personal belongings to fund his daily cultivation. After the performance, Li Leifeng went to the private box to thank the Zhou family elder for his generous donation to the show. The Zhou family elder also wanted to befriend Li Leifeng and asked about his method of educating children during their conversation. Under Elder Li's guidance, the orphans in CU Garden are well-behaved, sensible, and diligent. My son Zhou Zeshan is mischievous and troublesome, hates school, and shows no interest in studying. It's really worrying." After asking a few questions and understanding the situation, Li Leifeng smiled. "My advice would be to let him play." The Zhou family elder was puzzled. Li Leifeng explained, "From what you just described, I understand that your son is being strictly supervised. Apart from his school lessons, he has numerous tutoring sessions at home, leaving him with little time for play. It's precisely because he plays so little that even a blade of grass, a pencil, or a cloud in the sky can captivate him, leading him to daydream and get distracted. You must know, no matter how smart a child is, they have a childlike heart. Play is their nature and an essential part of their growth, an indispensable part of their development. Only by playing continuously will they find joy and happiness. The more they play, the less enticing a blade of grass or a pencil will be for them. This is precisely the growth they need." Hidden nearby, Sun Lingtong listened intently. From then on, he never stole from CU Garden again. Sun Lingtong excitedly found Ningxiu. "You're really lucky to have met me." His abrupt words left Ningxiu feeling bewildered. "Come on, I'll take you out to play." The 7-year-old Ningxiu was incredulous, his eyes shining with delight. "Really, really?" "Of course." Sun Lingtong raised his head, grabbing Ningxiu's arm, and soared through the air. In the dark alleyways, Sun Lingtong encouraged Ningxiu, "See that unsightly guy? Steal from him the way I just taught you, just for fun." Ningxiu hesitated. "Isn't it bad to steal from people?" "What are you afraid of? Trust your brother Sun, I won't lead you astray." Sun Lingtong patted his chest, urging him enthusiastically. It's really exciting, especially the first time you steal. It will make you feel thrilled. Under his guidance, Ningxiu chose a hooligan and stole his money pouch. The hooligan frantically searched for it, almost stripping himself naked. Ningxiu hid in the dark, laughing heartily. Before leaving, he even seemed to throw the pouch back at the hooligan's feet. Sun Lingtong patted Ningxiu's shoulder. How was it? Felt exciting, right? Yes. It was quite fun, Ningxiu said. Sun Lingtong sighed. Sometimes, when I'm in a bad mood, I wander the streets. If I see someone I dislike, I steal from them. Ha ha ha, every time I steal, I feel much better. Ningxiu hesitated. Brother Sun, perhaps we shouldn't do this. The academy teaches us to follow the righteous path and do righteous deeds. Stealing is not a good behavior. Sun Lingtong rolled his eyes, then slyly smiled. The academy elders' teachings are correct. What I'm teaching you is essentially the same thing. Ningxiu stared, confused. Sun Lingtong said, don't you understand the principle of punishing evil and promoting good? Punishing these bad people is doing good deeds. It's an act of justice. The hooligan you just taught a lesson to usually bullies honest and kind people. All you did was make him scared for a while without causing real harm, which is really letting him off lightly. Ningxiu squinted his eyes. Then I'll go back and steal from him again. Sun Lingtong nodded. Sure, I'll go with you. This time, I'll teach you a new way to steal. Try it and see how it feels different from before. Ningxiu's plain and repressed life started to become more colorful. As the thefts increased, Sun Lingtong was very satisfied with Ningxiu's progress. Little Xiu, you learn everything so quickly. You truly have talent. Why don't you join me in the Bukong sect then? Ningxiu showed a troubled expression. Although the Bukong sect is your sect, brother Sun, its reputation isn't very good. I just want to steal from the rich, give to the poor, punish the wicked, and promote good. I don't want to truly become a thief. Ah, this. Brother Sun, I wasn't talking about you. You are different from the others, really. All right, all right. Sun Lingtong waved his hand repeatedly. I was just saying that if you don't agree, that's fine. You said you want to steal from the rich and give to the poor, then let's play something more exciting. Hee hee. Ningxiu was curious. What's more exciting? Robbery. Sun Lingtong's eyes sparkled. In the alley, Ningxiu and Sun Lingtong suddenly jumped out from the front and back, surrounding a brutish man. Robbery, Sun Lingtong shouted. Ningxiu nodded, feeling a bit nervous during his first robbery. The brutish man was initially startled, then burst out laughing. You two kids want to rob me. Sun Lingtong became angry. Dare to underestimate me. Little Xiu, get him. Ningxiu charged forward. He was a qi refining cultivator. His cultivation was only at the first level, while the brutish man was a martial artist mastering inner qi. The fight was evenly matched, but in the stalemate, Sun Lingtong struck the back of the brutish man's head with a brick, knocking him unconscious. Ningxiu was shocked. He won't die, will he? Sun Lingtong proudly dusted off his hand. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Though Ningxiu successfully committed the robbery, he didn't feel elated. He often lost focus, feeling anxious and insecure. Sun Lingtong noticed and laughed, grabbing his hand. Come, let's go back. Why go back? Sun Lingtong led Ningxiu back along the same path, making Ningxiu witness the brutish man waking up with his own eyes. The brutish man found his belongings completely gone, became furious, and cursed loudly. He returned to his gang's base and extorted the small vendors along the way to make up for his loss. Ningxiu followed him all the way, clenching his fists in anger. Let's rob him again. Sun Lingtong's eyes flashed with a sharp light. He suddenly said, Little Xiu, did you ever think that by robbing him, he would retaliate even more viciously against other poor people? There's a better way. Why don't we just kill him and make him disappear from this world? Ningxiu was startled, his face full of shock, stuttering as he said, Kai, kill him, that's not right. He had never thought of killing anyone before. Sun Lingtong smiled slightly, patted Ningxiu's shoulder. If you don't want to, then forget it. I was just suggesting. Ningxiu's face turned pale. Let's just teach him a lesson, make a deep impression on him, and ensure he receives severe punishment. As Ningxiu committed more thefts and robberies, he quickly grew in practical experience and was no longer as immature as before. Your mindset still isn't stable. You need training. Follow me. Sun Lingtong pulled Ningxiu out, sticking talismans on both of them, transforming them into two middle-aged men. He took Ningxiu to a commoner's gambling den, gambling heavily with both wins and losses along the way. The intense atmosphere of the casino opened Ningxiu's eyes. After several hours of gambling, Sun Lingtong took Ningzhu home, asking how he felt. Ningzhu said he was enlightened. So that's how these people think. Brother Sun, you are amazing, like you have a mind-reading technique. You transmitted your thoughts to me, continuously analyzing the gamblers' mindsets. From the changes in their expressions, you could infer the size of the cards in their hands. It's as magical as a spell. Sun Lingtong asked the crucial question, how do you feel about gambling? Ningzhu shook his head. I don't like gambling. I prefer to follow procedures, accumulate step by step, and achieve success. As long as you enter the gambling arena, there's always a chance of losing. But if you become the one who runs the casino, you're the master. I prefer to be the master. However, I also know that sometimes you can't avoid gambling. Sun Lingtong smacked his lips. You don't like the feeling of gambling. You're just like my master. Every time he gambled, Sun Lingtong won more than he lost. Occasionally, he took Ningzhu to an upper-class restaurant, ordering a large table of delicious food to nourish Ningzhu's body. Come, little brother, let me treat you to a drink. Sun Lingtong pushed the wine cup to Ningzhu. Both of them wore transformation talismans, appearing as adult men. Ningzhu took a sip and coughed repeatedly. Too spicy, it's hard to drink. Sun Lingtong shook his head. You just don't understand, wine is a good thing. He originally didn't like drinking, but over the years he frequently went into caves, waiting endlessly for his master, gradually starting to drown his sorrows in alcohol and realizing its benefits. I have a way. Sun Lingtong called for sweet wine. This time Ningzhu could drink it down. The wine was sweet and not spicy on the throat at all. Then he got drunk, his eyes glazed and his face flushed red. Sun Lingtong helped him out of the restaurant. On the way home, Ningzhu saw someone calling them, You two gentlemen, come and play. He curiously pointed to the sign of Yanheng Tower. Brother Sun, this must be a very fun place. Every time we've passed by, people are going in and out and you can hear people playing and singing inside. It's the liveliest at night. Let's go in and have some fun, it must be fun. But this time, Sun Lingtong's face darkened. No, we're not going. Little brother, you're too young. This place is still too early for you. Let's go home, I'll take you home. The soul search continued. In Sun Lingtong's home, he became a prisoner. The soul was separated from the body and held in the hands of the judgment officer. The judgment officer is one of the 4 great ghost judges. I used the treasure seal to summon the god. Even if it's just an avatar, it's not something a foundation establishment peak like Sun Lingtong can resist. The heart seal may be strong, but it can't withstand such intense and continuous soul search. The blind judge Chi Bai wore a cold expression. Despite Sun Lingtong's soul constantly enduring the excruciating pain from the soul search, Chi Bai didn't obtain any results after half a day. How can this be? Chi Bai was surprised. He snorted coldly and used his upper-class talent. Insight into the netherworld. In an instant, he was able to see again. What appeared in his vision was a dark, gray world. Only ghostly beings emitted green, blue, and other eerie glows. Chi Bai saw the judgment officer and Sun Lingtong's soul. The judgment officer's avatar radiated a grand blue light, very stable, like a shining gem. Sun Lingtong's soul emitted a green light, quivering like water waves. This indicated that his soul was suffering severe damage, and his emotions were in turmoil. Whenever a wave seemed ready to break out, a seal would appear deep within Sun Lingtong's soul. The seal was weak but resilient. The waves dissipated instantly upon encountering it. Seeing this, Chi Bai immediately understood. The judgment officer's divine power is astounding. Sun Lingtong can't stop the soul search interrogation. But the information obtained is all rendered blank by the heart seal. An ordinary outer disciple absolutely couldn't achieve this. Unexpectedly, even though Sun Lingtong didn't practice the Bukong sect's orthodox cultivation technique, he had such a deep understanding of the sect's principles. What a pity he dedicated himself to the youthful emperor's technique. If he practiced the Bukong sect's orthodox technique, his achievements would be astounding. After just a glance, Chi Bai immediately stopped using his talent. Although the insight into the netherworld talent was immensely powerful, it required a significant drawback. Every time he used it, it consumed his eyesight. Over time, his vision would not only worsen, but his eyes would also completely fail. Chi Bai had used the talent too much, leading to blindness that was almost impossible to cure. Many powerful treatment methods could restore his vision but would damage his talent. When both eyes were blind, every use of insight into the netherworld would decrease his remaining lifespan. Thus, Each usage decreased his lifespan by a portion, a high cost. Using it once is enough. Bai returned Sun Lingtong's soul to his body. Bai let out a cold laugh. Next, Sun Lingtong screamed your heart's content. My sole punishment in the entire sect is one of a kind. Bai wielded a spell and summoned various small ghosts that crawled onto Sun Lingtong, pinning him down. His body surged with yin energy, surrounded by chilling winds. He took out coffin nails and fiercely nailed them into Sun Lingtong's hands. Thunk, thunk. With two light sounds, Sun Lingtong's hands were nailed to the pillar, his small body hanging off the ground, feet suspended. Sun Lingtong's eyes widened with rage, making choking sounds, his furious gaze fixed on Bai. Bai felt puzzled. Why don't you scream? It doesn't make sense. I deliberately brought your soul into your body to use physical punishment to affect your soul, doubling your pain. Under my soul punishment, and you don't utter a sound. Are you using some special spell to block the pain? No, that's not right. If you had, my talent would have detected it. Bai was suspicious and summoned the triangular eyes and hawk nose into the room. He cast spells on both of them, one using coffin nails and the other using soul punishment. The triangular eyes screamed in agony, and hawk nose rolled his eyes, foaming at the mouth, passing out after just a few breaths. This is how it should be. Bai felt relieved, turning to Sun Lingtong with a cold and sinister expression. I didn't expect such a small body to possess such a tough spirit. Heh heh, let's see how long you can hold on. Sun Lingtong had aroused Bai's competitive spirit. He started torturing Sun Lingtong, using all sorts of severe punishments. He wanted to see Sun Lingtong's tears and hear his screams and cries. Another morning dawned. Hasn't Elder Sun responded yet? Ningzhu paced the room, his face darkened. If his secret mark isn't changed today, it will be the third day. Sun Lingtong and Ningzhu had agreed on many ways to communicate. In theory, as long as everything was normal, the secret mark would be changed once a day. Since the last time we interrogated Elder Sun in public, Zhu Xuanji hasn't appeared again. Could he have secretly attacked Elder Sun? By widely gathering information, Ningzhu had uncovered many pieces of intel about the black market. Over the past 2 days, Sun Lingtong had appeared normally and even handled a few minor black market disputes. Elder Sun must be in some kind of danger, beyond his control. The normal appearances are just a facade. In fact, he might not even be himself. Ningzhu pieced together the truth. Sun Lingtong had been impersonated by Han Ming, who was now commanding Sun's subordinates and swiftly infiltrating the entire black market organization to convert it for his own use. Some rumors also spread about Yuan Someone seeks revenge and is targeting the Monkey Head Gang. The leader is Bao Chu, whose entire family was killed by Yuan Yi. After narrowly escaping, he changed his name but not his surname, diligently training and connecting with people who had deep grudge against the Monkey Head Gang. After the Fire Persimmon Festival, the Monkey Head Gang fell to its lowest point. Bao Chu raised his arm in a call to bring long-accumulated forces to the forefront and avenge his family. Ningzhu was not surprised by this turn of events. He had already anticipated that something like this would happen. If Bao Chu really makes a move, I can use him to my advantage, wait for them to strike, then direct Yuan Dasheng to protect Yuan However, the rumors about Bao Chu are too numerous and noisy. Ningzhu felt a slight oddity. Over the years, he had never stopped collecting intelligence. This habit had honed his sense of discerning false information from the truthful. The intel about Bao Chu didn't strike him as false, but rather gave him a subtle, strange feeling. After careful thought, Ningzhu considered a possibility. If I were Bao Chu, I would never be so blatant about my revenge plans. Therefore, it could very well be the work of the Monkey Head Gang's elders. Bao Chu might have reached an agreement with some elder or even multiple elders in the gang to enhance the chances of successful revenge while reducing the risks and losses. But the gang elders also have their own agendas. They need to publicize the fact that Bao Chu is targeting the Monkey Head Gang and Yuan Once Yuan is assassinated, they can more smoothly take over the entire Monkey Head Gang. Prior to that, they would have already established to the public that Bao Chu is the true culprit. At this realization, Ningzhu became more certain that Bao Chu and his allies would take action. And judging by the rumors, the actions would likely occur within a few days. It looks like I need to keep an extra close watch on Yuan Yuan couldn't die just yet. Ningzhu still planned to use him to solidify his control over Yuan Dasheng and eliminate the hidden dangers from the spirit movement period. Elder Sun is facing trouble, but it's not the first time. At this moment, patience and calm are most needed. In Ningzhu's memory, Sun Lingtong had been captured for the first time when he was 8 years old. Frequent walking along the shore would inevitably lead to wet shoes. Sun Lingtong often used theft to obtain resources for his cultivation, and it was only a matter of time before he encountered trouble. This time, he was captured by a local gang and thrown into their private prison. Bloodied and bruised, Sun Lingtong curled up in the corner of the cell, motionless. Thud. Suddenly, 2 guards fell dead to the ground, motionless. Startled by the noise, Sun Lingtong moved to the cell door, tense. He saw Ningzhu gradually materialize before him. "Brother Sun, I'm here to rescue you," Ningzhu said, face filled with tension. Seeing Sun Lingtong, he became excited. "Little Zhu, why have you come alone?" Sun Lingtong was shocked, his face turning cold. "Did you forget what I taught you? If I get caught, you should report to the authorities. Get the city guard army to search the place, create chaos for me so I can escape." I reported to the authorities," Ningzhu said quickly. "But they were too slow and I was worried about you. You've been missing for 3 days. I was worried about you." Sun Lingtong waved his hand. All right, stop talking. Hurry and open the door. The situation is dangerous, don't waste time. Whatever you want to say, let's talk about it outside. The key is on that big guard, be careful when you search." "Got it." Ningzhu ran to the big guard, skillfully using the technique Sun Lingtong had taught him, and successfully found the cell key. The key slid into the lock. Ningzhu channeled mana, struggling to turn it. A wave of light spread rapidly from the lock hole, flowing across the lock, chain, and most of the cell bars, revealing many array patterns. Ningzhu opened the door and helped Sun Lingtong out. There were still cultivators patrolling outside the cell. Using talismans and magic artifacts, they took full advantage of the shadows and blind spots, finally escaping the enemy gang's base after a long while. They hadn't been out for long when the gang's base erupted in chaos. "Someone has escaped. That little thief is gone. Quick, pursue them. They can't have gone far." From the shouts, Sun Lingtong recognized the voices of the 2 guards who had been watching him. He looked at Ningzhu, glaring at him. "You used the incense powder I gave you, why didn't they die?" Ningzhu didn't dare to look directly at Sun Lingtong, weakly saying, "I was afraid it would kill them, so I added some medicinal mud to wrap the incense before lighting it." Sun Lingtong's eyes immediately flashed with anger. "Let's not talk about this now. I'll deal with you when we get home." After a thrilling chase, Sun Lingtong accumulated several more wounds, his body covered in blood. Paying a huge price, he finally managed to bring Ningzhu to a safe place. "How are you? Are you injured? Check your whole body quickly." Sun Lingtong's divine sense was too weak to extend. Ningzhu checked himself over and found only some scrapes. "That's good." Sun Lingtong breathed a sigh of relief, then glared and gave Ningzhu a flick on the forehead. "You fool," he scolded. "Brother Sun, I saved you. Why did you hit me?" Ningzhu clutched his head, wincing in pain and feeling very wronged. "Why didn't you kill those 2 people? If you had killed them, we would have had more time to retreat calmly. Instead of being chased and nearly killed by them." Ningzhu was so criticized that he couldn't say a word. "Yes, it was my fault." Ningzhu took out elixir pills and bandages from his storage bag. "Brother Sun, calm down. Your wounds are still bleeding." A moment later, Sun Lingtong sat while Ningzhu bent over, wrapping him up almost like a white bandage cocoon. "Brother Sun, you should hide and take good care of your wounds during this time. It was my fault. Actually, if we had followed our original plan and waited for the city guard army to cause a disturbance, you would have definitely found a chance to escape on your own with your skills, Brother Sun. By coming to save you, I actually brought you more trouble." Sun Lingtong exhaled a turbid breath, his anger slightly subsiding. "Your biggest mistake was showing mercy when you should have killed. If you had to do it all over again, would you still make the same mistake?" Ningzhu showed a hesitant expression. "This," Sun Lingtong snorted coldly in anger, no longer speaking. In the tunnel, the torchlight cast their shadows on the ground. Sun Lingtong looked at the shadow on the ground, his eyes flashing with cold light. He suddenly realized, "I've protected little Zhu too well. Thinking back, when I was 6 or 7 years old, my master already took me to kill people. Actually, I was wrong. What does little Zhu understand? He's already 9 years old now. If it weren't for today's incident waking me up, I would have continued making the same mistake." Sun Lingtong asked himself why he had made such a mistake. He thought of his master. When he was 6 or 7 years old, his master touched his head, rarely showing a hesitant expression. Ah, Lingtong, master doesn't want you to go through this. But master knows you must go through this. You might feel pain and discomfort for a while, but when you grow up, you'll understand. Sun Lingtong collected his thoughts, his gaze fixed on Ningxiu's shadow, murmuring to himself in his heart, "Master, I understand now." Sun Lingtong devised a plan. He lied that he wanted to avenge a deep grudge and teamed up with Ningxiu to ambush members of an enemy faction. During this process, he pretended to be overwhelmed and captured, creating a false impression that he was about to be killed. Ningxiu fell into the trap. In a moment of desperation, he slew the formidable enemy. After a moment of bewilderment, Ningxiu looked at the fallen, dead enemy on the ground, his face turning pale, then suddenly bent over and vomited. Sun Lingtong stayed by his side, watching as Ningxiu vomited and vomited until only the acid from his stomach remained. Sun Lingtong teased from the side, "Little Xiu, you're far worse than I was back then. Ha ha ha." Ningxiu, exhausted from vomiting, sat on the ground, staring blankly at his blood-stained hands. Sun Lingtong cleaned up the battlefield and led him to a small river. "Come, let me wash your hands." Ningxiu, now like a puppet, obediently let himself be washed without resistance. Halfway through the washing, he reacted, "Brother Sun, you were pretending, weren't you? Actually, at the last moment, there was a huge flaw in my attack. The enemy could have easily avoided it." But at that time, his movements were stiff, as if controlled by a stick. Sun Lingtong paused in his actions, then nodded, candidly admitting, "Yes, I controlled it. Thanks to the mechanism manual your mother left you." "You!" Ningxiu was furious. Sun Lingtong giggled, "Are you going to scold me or hit me?" Ningxiu couldn't speak. He gritted his teeth and pulled his hands back, sulking, "I'll wash them myself." But Sun Lingtong rarely seemed forceful, pulling his hands back to continue washing. "Don't move. For the first time, I'll wash them for you. My master did the same for me." Hearing Sun Lingtong mention his master, Ningxiu paused slightly, no longer resisting. Under the moonlight, the two youths washed their hands by the small river in the Immortal city. Strangely, the younger one was taking care of the older one. The blood-stained water quickly flowed down the small river and was soon diluted. By the time it reached the stone bridge 40 steps away, it was almost unnoticeable. Sun Lingtong suddenly spoke. "We are cultivators. Cultivators fight for their lives. People fight among themselves and people fight against the heavens. In this gamble, our basic stake is our lives. He was killed by you, he just lost the gamble. His soul will reappear in this world in another form. And we have to keep gambling, until the moment we lose our stake." Sun Lingtong looked at Ningxiu's clean hands, his expression extremely serious and earnest. Ningxiu took a deep breath. "Brother Sun, I know you're doing this for my own good, I remember it all." Sun Lingtong shook his head. "Remembering it? Not enough. Each time I went out to steal, I would tell myself before the action, this time I might not come back, I might die. If that's the result of my life's gamble, I accept it. I'm always prepared to accept my death, even in the next second." "That's my awareness." "What's your awareness?" Ningxiu was deeply shaken, standing there speechless. Never before had he felt Sun Lingtong's small body exude such grandeur. Sun Lingtong continued, "If one day I die, don't mourn for me, little Xiuo. If one day I fall into a more desperate situation with no way out, don't save me, little Xiuo. It's not worth risking a second life, do you understand?" Ningxiu opened his mouth, wanting to speak. But the next moment, Sun Lingtong interrupted him. "If you fall into a desperate situation, I won't save you either. Because I need to stay alive to keep gambling. Of course, if there's a chance, I will avenge you. For now, regarding this matter, let's make a promise." Sun Lingtong raised his palm. Under his intense gaze, Ningxiu had no choice but to raise his palm as well. The silver-white moonlight shone on the river, causing ripples like countless tiny diamonds dancing on the surface. The leaves on both banks gently swayed in the night breeze. Pa. Standing by the small river, the two children's palms met in a light clap. Ningxiu lowered his head, tightly pressing his lips together. Sun Lingtong's upturned face reflected the clear brilliance of the moonlit night. Only then did he grin, showing white teeth and a smile. His voice was light yet firm. "Thus, the promise is made." Outside Fire Persimmon Mountain, a demon beast, as large as a mountain, opened its blood-red maw. An immense suction force immediately followed, threatening to swallow the cultivators ahead in one gulp. At this critical moment, a ruler shone with the brilliance of the sun, descending like a meteor. Boom! The demon beast died on the spot. Zhuge Xuanji descended from the sky. The rescued cultivators recognized Zhuge Xuanji, quickly prostrating and expressing endless gratitude. Zhuge Xuanji glanced at them, then looked towards Fire Persimmon Immortal City. During this period, it's best if you stay away from the Immortal City. Go! The cultivators saw Zhuge Xuanji's stern expression and dared not draw close, retreating humbly. Some of them heeded Zhuge Xuanji's advice, while others had pressing matters and returned to the Immortal City. Zhuge Xuanji observed all these movements keenly. He did not attempt further persuasion, his mood heavy. After probing for the past couple of days, he was certain that this was Meng Qi working in secret, using the mountain gaze divine skill to create a fortune field centered on himself. The fortune field covered the entire Fire Persimmon Mountain, including the Magma Fairy Palace and the Fire Persimmon Immortal City. Moreover, the range of the fortune field continued to expand, forcing Zhuge Xuanji to retreat repeatedly. The demon beasts within the field grew increasingly agitated and battle-hungry, triggering countless bloody conflicts over various incidents. The more Zhuge Xuanji saw, the colder his heart grew. Meng Qi! Meng Qi sat in the depths of the mist, coldly observing the turbulent world outside. His primary focus remained the Magma Fairy Palace. The battle at the peak of Fire Persimmon Mountain had lasted several days already. Various red flame demon beasts continuously attacked the palace, while the palace's numerous mechanism artifacts formed a solid defense line. Meng Qi's eyes suddenly flickered. At the edge of the palace's defense line, a figure appeared out of nowhere, moving swiftly towards the palace. The nearby demon beasts noticed and attacked the mysterious figure en masse. The next moment, the mysterious figure burst forth with golden core energy, releasing fierce cold chi that froze and killed large numbers of demon beasts, allowing entry to the palace. The various mechanism artifacts inside the palace showed no intention of attacking the mysterious figure. Oh, the ice heart technique! It's the golden core of the Ning family, Meng Qi identified. The 4 golden core cultivators from the Zhou family and the Zheng family were already inside the formation gambling in battle, while the Ning family's golden core ancestors seized the opportunity to enter the palace. Meng Qi sneered coldly. The Ning family's golden core has mastered the mechanical techniques, allowing him to enter the palace. This was something previously undiscovered. According to the Ning family, they only discovered the Magma Fairy Palace this year. Is this true? It was possible that the Ning family's golden core ancestor had advanced his mechanical techniques this year, reaching the entry standard. It was also possible that he had secretly entered the palace long ago, with the Ning family's public statements being mere smoke and mirrors. Could he be that black shadow demon cultivator? Meng Qi quietly speculated, playing with 2 walnuts in his hands. The walnuts rubbed against each other in his palm, rotating. Occasionally, a complex rune flickered on their surfaces. New intelligence reached Ningzhu's hands. Someone outside Fire Persimmon Mountain was being hunted by demon beasts and was saved by Zhuge Xuanji. Zhuge Xuanji is outside the city. Ningzhu's expression grew serious. This information significantly impacted his previous assumptions. He had originally believed that the one holding Sun Lingtong captive was Zhuge Xuanji. After all, Zhuge Xuanji had publicly interrogated Sun Lingtong before, only to be temporarily repelled by her tantrums. In fact, this indeed does not align with Zhuge Xuanji's modus operandi. If it's truly not him, then who else can cause such trouble for Elder Sun? Ningzhu had lived here for 16 years and was well acquainted with the significant figures and forces within Fire Persimmon Immortal City. Sun Lingtong, being at the pinnacle of Foundation establishment, had controlled the black market for years. There were very few individuals or forces capable of dealing with him in such a manner. Han Ming! With this line of thought, Ningzhu recalled the female demon cultivator he had captured. It was indeed a possibility. Since Ningzhu had publicly demonstrated some strength, he was no longer free to act as before. After the tri-family test, he had not seen Han Ming again. Even the time he boosted Yuan Dasheng's spirit, he did so remotely through the golden-blooded war ape Dasheng. At that time, I indeed heard Han Ming's calls from the dungeon. Ningzhu felt equally constrained now. Should I send Yuan Dasheng to take a look? Ningzhu immediately dismissed the idea. The news about Bao Chu had spread widely. This group was about to take action. At this critical juncture, if Ning Zhu pulled Yuan Dasheng away, what if he missed the chance to protect Yuan Er? It seems like two choices, but there is only one. Ning Zhu calmly analyzed. If Han Ming has indeed been rescued, causing Elder Sun's predicament, then they likely have prepared something at the dungeon. If I send Yuan Dasheng over, it will surely alert them. This is something that can wait. Ning Zhu chose to bide his time, constantly monitoring Yuan Dasheng. Bao Chu and his group moved much earlier than Ning Zhu had anticipated. Night fell, the moon and stars sparse. Through the lurking Yuan Dasheng, Ning Zhu quickly discovered Bao Chu and his group moving through the Monkey Head Gang's headquarters. Yuan Er huddled in the center of the gang's headquarters. However, the defenses and guards around him were constantly being withdrawn by disloyal elders, creating numerous large gaps. Following instructions, Bao Chu and his group homed in on Yuan Er's house without alarming any guards. It wasn't until someone climbed through a window, triggering a talisman and activating a spell, that Yuan Er realized what was happening. "Help! Help! Assassins! Assassins!" Yuan Er shouted, wildly activating the formation within the house. The formation lasted only a few breaths before Bao Chu and his group destroyed it. Evidently, the traitor's influence had reached the most critical areas. "Father, mother, today your child avenges you," Bao Chu roared, charging in first upon being discovered. The people following him were equally determined, immediately behind him. Yuan Er had several close attendants and servants by his side, forming a defensive line to fend off the assassins. Bao Chu's group had prepared thoroughly. They broke through the defense with just a brief pause, advancing on Yuan Er. Yuan Er fought back while trying to flee. "Coward," Ning Zhu coldly observed. Yuan Er had panicked, losing his composure. This flight utterly disrupted their defensive arrangements, further shaking the confidence and morale of his attendants. Yuan Dasheng had long been itching to act. Ning Zhu softly commanded, "Go!" The martial fighting ape Dasheng roared, leaping out to block Bao Chu. Yuan Er's face lit with joy. "Uncle Ape!" Yuan Dasheng's combat prowess was extraordinary. In a few rounds, he had Bao Chu retreating step by step. Several cultivators seeking revenge tried to bypass Yuan Dasheng, only to be intercepted and slain by him. Eventually, when the gang members arrived, Yuan Dasheng had already ended the battle. Most of the cultivators had perished, though Bao Chu survived, heavily injured. Yuan Er, standing tall, approached Bao Chu. Bao Chu, with his arms forcefully restrained by gang members, could only kneel. "Your father couldn't surpass mine, so he was killed. Now you also can't surpass me, so it's normal to be killed. Heh, who gave you the courage to harbor the illusion that you could kill me?" Yuan Er felt confident again. This confidence stemmed from the martial fighting ape Dasheng standing behind him. Most people in the room occasionally glanced at Yuan Dasheng. In the recent assassination attempt, Yuan Dasheng had fully displayed his strength and valor. The heavily armed Bao Chu and his group couldn't gain the upper hand and were defeated by Yuan Dasheng. Bao Chu raised his head, his face smeared with blood and hatred. "Pa!" he spat, but his saliva was blocked by the guards. Yuan Er was cautious, standing behind the guards, gloating at Bao Chu from a safe distance. Ning Zhu was also pleased. In this battle, he felt that his connection with Yuan Dasheng had become at least half clearer. One more assassination attempt might fully eliminate this hidden danger. However, Bao Chu suddenly paused, his expression turning peculiar. The next moment, he roared fiercely. "If not now, when?" Everyone found it strange. Then the gang guard closest to Yuan Er suddenly acted, drawing his blade and turning, the blade flashing like snow, fast as lightning. Yuan Er's head flew off on the spot. This scene stunned nearly everyone. Yuan Er's head hit the ground. In his final moments, he looked at the martial fighting ape Dasheng. Yuan Er wondered why Uncle Ape didn't save him. He forgot. His Uncle Ape was no longer a being of flesh and blood, but a mechanism artifact, a soulless mechanism artifact. This wasn't like before, when in a life-and-death crisis, Yuan Dasheng had sufficient reaction time to make a grand entrance and fight. The guard's attack had been too swift. Yuan Dasheng's spiritual nature required a stimulus process, and it hadn't had time to react. Ning Zhu realized, there's still hope. This was a world of cultivation, where even being beheaded didn't mean one couldn't survive. However, just as he wanted to fully control Yuan Dasheng to retrieve Yuan Er's head and attempt a rescue, Yuan Dasheng roared in fury, losing control again. Roaring like a lion or tiger, it charged at the assailant. The guard tried to block with his blade but was smashed to death, weapon and all, by Yuan Dasheng's fist. The surrounding gang members scattered in terror. Bao Chu, regaining his freedom, tried to escape but was grabbed by Yuan Dasheng the next moment. Don't kill me! Boom. A faint popping sound. Yuan Dasheng crushed his head directly, but that wasn't enough. Next, Yuan Dasheng continued to viciously pummel the assassins' corpses. After smashing them into a pulp, it finally came to a halt. Oh no, Ningzhu sensed grave trouble. The green light in the mechanism's eyes rapidly faded. Yuan Dasheng stood still among the pile of bone fragments and flesh, shoulders sagging, motionless. No matter how Ningzhu tried to sense it, he could no longer feel its spiritual nature. An eerie silence. More accurately, it was as if it had never existed. A difficult beast battle had ended. The young Yuan Yi and the young Yuan Dasheng walked in the deserted alley. Yuan Dasheng was covered in wounds, each step pulling at his injuries, causing him to grimace in pain. Yuan Yi clutched his pocket, which contained his only 3 half-spirit stones. He gritted his teeth and finally said, "Dasheng, stay here. I'll go to the apothecary over there and at least get you some ointment." Yuan Yi left, and Yuan Dasheng staggered, leaning against the cold wall, slowly sitting on the ground. He panted heavily. The act of sitting down also aggravated his wounds, making his heart race with pain. The alley was empty, the light dim, as if he was the only one left in the world. Suddenly, a gong sounded. Yuan Dasheng instinctively looked up. The sound came from the opposite wall. Then the drum beat started, and someone called out loudly, "Next, please welcome Master Li Leifeng to perform a puppet show for the old family master. The show's name is Qin Lai Goes to Battle." In the next moment, the platform slowly rose, and the puppets with their varied appearances began their performance. Yuan Dasheng looked up, peering through the gaps in the trees at the puppets, who spoke and moved like real people, creating a lively scene. Li Leifeng's puppeteering skills were superb, and amidst the gong, drum, and lute, Yuan Dasheng gradually forgot his pain and became engrossed in the performance. The play progressed, reaching its most climactic segment. The villain set a trap, falsely accusing Qin Lai of amassing soldiers and harboring treachery. The young lord issued 3 imperial decrees in quick succession, insisting that Qin Lai, despite his severe wounds, lead the charge. Commander Qin Lai, with 3 battle flags on his back, struggled to his feet, lifted his long spear, and trudged step by heavy step towards the front lines. He sang, "Raised with the benevolence of the former lord, his grace like a mountain engraved in my heart. Taught me loyalty and to defend the land, gave me wisdom and bravery to stand. The former lord's kindness, like a father and brother, helping me grow, teaching loyalty and righteousness, bestowing wisdom and courage." The gong sounded steadily and forcefully, as if announcing the weight and heroism of this battle. He sang again, "Though the young lord be young, I support him like a father and brother, giving my all. Though mistrusted, I bear no grudge. May our nation stand strong forevermore. The young lord is but a child. I supported you to ascend, like nurturing a sapling hoping you'd grow. Though suspected, I bear no ill. May you restore the nation's fortunes." The Jinghu emitted a high, clear sound, at times mournful and heart-wrenching, at times melodious, expressing Qin Lai's certain expectations. Commander Qin Lai fought on the battlefield like a fierce lion, slaughtering enemies endlessly, terrifying the opposing forces. He sang again, "Though aged, my spirit remains, spilling my blood to repay the nation's grace. The former lord's spirit smiles in the heavens. I have no regrets to the battlefield." The drum resounded, its thick and inspiring beat like galloping war horses, grand and magnificent. Yuan Dasheng watched, his blood boiling. Qin Lai battled long without retreat, his wounds worsening, his strength depleted, eventually falling on the battlefield, unable to break through the enemy's heavy ranks despite his reinforcements' efforts. Realizing his impending death, Qin Lai looked up and sang, "The former lord's grace remembered forever. The young lord, my heart yearns to revive the state. Shedding blood on the battlefield, not in vain, my soul returns to comfort the former lord. Why fear the enemy? Thousands of troops are not to be daunted. My death is not for fame or riches, but for a heart of pure loyalty. Recalling the heavy grace of the former lord, with the nation in peril, how could I retreat? Young lord, may you know loyal ministers would give their lives willingly. After my death, may you understand, a loyal heart protects our land." The rhythm of the gong and drums shifted many times, holding both the tension of battle and the tragic grandeur of farewell. Finally, Qin perished alongside the enemy commander. In his final moments, he faced the capital, half kneeling, clasped his hands in salute. "My lord, your humble servant is departing." A resounding drumbeat shook the entire stage. Suddenly, the Siona played, its piercing, sorrowful notes filled with tragic grandeur, seemingly penetrating time and space, striking Yuan Dasheng's heart. The Siona continued for a moment, then the flute joined in. The flute's sound was crisp and pleasant, sometimes twisting and turning, sometimes high and exalted. At last, the sound rose high like a bluebird soaring, its faint body vanishing into the vast blue sky. Yuan Dasheng looked up, silent for a long time. This was his first time watching this puppet show. He could already understand human speech, and his mind and body were both deeply moved. "Dasheng, Dasheng!" Yuan ran back, holding several ointments in his hand. He laughed. "We got lucky, the apothecary had a clearance sale, so I got these cheaply, several extra ointments. Come, let me apply it for you." Yuan Dasheng let Yuan Yi treat his wounds. He looked at Yuan Yi, then at the puppets on the high platform. The lantern light flickered like fire on his face, and from the other side of the wall, the sounds of celebration and applause constantly echoed in his ears. "Get up, what are you sitting there for?" Yuan Yi stood up and took a step. Yuan Dasheng reached out and pointed at the high platform opposite. Yuan Yi turned back, unimpressed. "Oh, it's a puppet show." Yuan Yi glanced again. "It's the Qin Goes to Battle story, a very famous piece." What a pity he followed the wrong person. Yuan Yi walked ahead, and Yuan Dasheng followed him. As they were about to leave the alley, he turned back for one last glance at the mechanical stage. The stage was slowly descending. The puppet playing Qin was still half kneeling. Yuan Dasheng looked at Yuan Yi's back and suddenly made several sounds. Yuan Yi turned to look at Yuan Dasheng, confused, not understanding what he wanted to say. He just waved. "Come on, let's go home, fill our bellies, and get to bed early." Depending on each other, beast battles, monkey head gang. "Look, Dasheng, this is my child. He's my child." Yuan Yi exclaimed with joy. "I have a child, I have a descendant in this world. I named him Yuan. Dasheng, my life isn't as long as yours. If there comes a day when I'm no longer here, let Yuan replace Yuan Yi and continue to accompany you." Yuan got hungry and started crying. Yuan Dasheng squeezed the juice out of a peach the size of a wash basin and poured it over him. As a result, Yuan ended up drenched like a drowned rat. Yuan fell ill. Yuan Dasheng darted through the immortal city like the wind at night, stormed into the medical hall, grabbed the pharmacist by the throat, and dragged him as they sprinted and leapt. The pharmacist's screams shattered the moonlit night's tranquility. Yuan started to climb. He clung to Yuan Dasheng's thick monkey fur, challenging the heights. Each time he fell, Yuan Dasheng's hand would catch him precisely. Yuan could walk and jump. "Uncle Monkey, they're bullying me." Yuan brought Yuan Dasheng to settle the score, scaring the other kids so badly they wet themselves and cried uncontrollably. Yuan became brave and aggressive, curious about one thing. "Uncle Monkey, who is stronger between you and my dad? Have you two ever fought? I ask Dad, but he never answers me." Yuan ran up to Yuan Dasheng, his face full of admiration and excitement. "Uncle Monkey, you're so amazing, so powerful. When can I be like you?" "Dad, I heard you're looking for a demon cultivator's cultivation technique for Uncle Monkey. Don't do that." Yuan burst into the study, shouting. Yuan Yi's face turned ashen with anger. "Shut up, who has been talking nonsense in your ear again? Dad, Uncle Monkey's strength is already unrivaled. His monkeys and apes, called pets, are more accurately their owners. Those cultivators are merely feeding slaves. Given the current situation, if Uncle Monkey's strength soars again, things might get worse. By then, who does the monkey head gang belong to?" Yuan pleaded bitterly. A few houses away, Yuan Dasheng, who bore demon skills, heard every word. His brows and eyes drooped, and he no longer lay down but crouched on the ground, gazing at the ground and let out a whimper. The monkeys and apes were killed, and Yuan Dasheng extended a finger, gently tapping Yuan chest. Yuan survived an assassination attempt, and Yuan Dasheng injured his own soul while guarding him. During the Fire Persimmon Festival explosion, Yuan Dasheng shielded Yuan in his arms. On his deathbed, Yuan Dasheng reached out one last time. In a daze, he seemed to hear the tune of Qin Goes to Battle. Yuan died. After a brief turmoil, an elder swiftly took power in the monkey head gang and stabilized the chaos. Yuan Dasheng also died. This was Ning Zhu's overwhelming feeling. He retrieved martial fighting ape Dasheng from the tree and repaired the entire mechanism, but couldn't find any spiritual nature, as if it had never existed. Elder Sun's dark mark hasn't changed. Ning Zhu clenched his fists. Every time he wanted to take action personally and investigate Sun Lingtong's actual situation, the Buddha heart demon seal in his divine sea would constantly tremble, emitting brilliant Buddha light. The Buddha saves himself, the treasure seal warned. It warned Ning Zhu that taking action would mean falling into someone else's trap. Qi Bai's face turned ashen. He looked at Sun Lingtong, finding it hard to believe that someone could withstand his soul punishment. Sun Lingtong's hands and legs were nailed with coffin nails, pinning him to a pillar. His brows furrowed, his eyes rolled back, and he trembled from time to time due to some spell's torment. Despite the punishment, Qi Bai had gained nothing. To maintain the soul search, the soul power and mana he served up were increasing more and more. On a regular day, he might have already stopped torturing Sun Lingtong. After all, torturing Sun Lingtong to extract information about the youthful guest was just a means to recruit Han Ming. It was a completely unprofitable deal. But in the tiger fighting Qi field, Qi Bai's desire for victory flared up exceptionally fierce. Perhaps his breakdown is right around the corner. Qi Bai growled with a sinister look. Very well, I like your stubbornness. Next, you'll endure 10 times the previous pain. Haha, death will be a blessing for you. Unfortunately, you angered me. Qi Bai activated a spell, striking Sun Lingtong. Sun Lingtong felt as if a mountain crushed him. The pain was so severe that he had the illusion of his body and soul being ground into pieces. Boundless pain permeated every inch of his skin, yet he couldn't lose consciousness. He was like a lone boat in a storm, falling into the endless sea whirlpool. Past memories were like a beam of light, weak yet stubbornly glimmering in the boundless darkness. All were about Ning Zhu. Others can control the black market. Why can't we? Interesting. Let's unite as brothers and take over the black market. Little Zhu, don't reveal your true face. Use the Iron Han armor to disguise yourself. I'm already well known, so it doesn't matter. Ning Zhu smiled and changed his address. From now on, I'll just call you Elder Sun. Elder, the goods are wrong. Elder Sun, I'm right behind you. Elder, charge. Elder Sun, don't worry, I'll always follow you. The pain overwhelmed Sun Lingtong like an abyss. He opened his eyes, the once bright eyes now bloodshot. Sun Lingtong smiled tragically, knowing the empty seal's effect was limited and he couldn't hold on much longer. He defiantly activated his last resort. Qi Bai keenly noticed the anomaly and was shocked. What? You would destroy your soul? Sun Lingtong triggered the empty seal, attacking his own soul to resist Qi Bai's soul search. Qi Bai's eyes widened in shock and doubt. Who is the youthful guest to you? You'd rather have your soul shattered to protect him. Are you really from the Bukong sect? Are you still a demon cultivator? Could it be he's your fellow disciple, the holy son of Bukong sect? Heh. Sun Lingtong grinned, making his final, laborious laugh. He is not a fellow disciple, he is my brother. Brother, Qi Bai was even more puzzled. Brothers are meant to be betrayed. For a bit of information, you wouldn't even save your life. What do you really want? Sun Lingtong lowered his eyelids. He was too weak. His voice was very faint. I only want to prove. He didn't follow. The wrong person. Qi Bai listened intently, only to hear these words. Incomprehensible. Qi Bai was furious to the extreme. In his entire life, he had never been so angry. He felt deeply violated. He completely lost his patience. At this moment, he forgot about recruiting Han Ming and the youthful guest. He drew his fingers together like a sword and thrust fiercely toward Sun Lingtong's forehead. This strike would surely pierce Sun Lingtong's forehead, leading to his actual death. Boom! An explosion suddenly occurred. Qi Bai sneered, disregarding it, determined to kill Sun Lingtong. But in the next moment, array patterns appeared, firmly protecting Sun Lingtong and blocking the deadly strike. The fierce explosion's impact hit, accompanied by surging flames. The explosion sent Qi Bai flying and then engulfed him. In contrast, Sun Lingtong, protected by the array patterns, was transported out of the room. The next moment, he landed beside an elderly man. This elderly man was incredibly frail, with a weathered face, black and blue eye bags, and wrinkles so deep they could trap insects. His hair was dark and messy, spreading from the top of his head to his shoulders and down to his feet, resembling a large black cloak. He relied on a cane, his waist deeply hunched like a shrimp. He called himself the youthful guest. He was Sun Lingtong's brother. In front of Sun Lingtong, a roaring fire burned fiercely, with thick smoke rising to the sky. The sound of shouting and killing also arose. Triangular eyes and hawk nose were under siege. These were many of Sun Lingtong's subordinates that Ning Zhu had contacted before the attack. Lord Qibai, he is a dignified golden core. How could such an explosion kill him? Let's worry more about ourselves. Where did Han Ming go? Just now, our setup in the underground prison was triggered, so she sneaked over to investigate secretly. Damn, the timing can't be such a coincidence. This is the enemy's plan, using our setup to successfully divide our forces. Triangular eyes and hawk nose communicated telepathically, seeing through Ning Zhu's tactics, but it was already too late. They were heavily surrounded and locked in a bitter struggle. Interesting, very interesting. From within the raging flames, Qibai sauntered out. The recent violent explosion had not harmed him at all. A faint golden glow enveloped him, protecting him completely. Qibai's face was gloomy, his gaze locked onto the youthful guest. You actually came to rescue him. At your age, you should know the difference between Golden Core and Foundation Establishment. Heh, you're just at Foundation Establishment peak. Are you here to rescue or seek death? As he said this, Qibai's gaze fell on the unconscious Sun Lingtong, a complex emotion flashing in his eyes. However, I can somewhat understand you. Qibai revealed a cruel smile, like a snake spitting out its tongue from the shadows. This makes me look forward even more to the moment I destroy both of you. I will tear you to pieces right in front of him, ha ha ha. Qibai laughed wildly, his laughter rampant. During his laughter, the surrounding crimson flames suddenly turned and morphed into a ghastly green cold flame. Ghost fire, he pointed with his finger. The ghost fire condensed into a pack of wolves, charging towards the youthful guest. The youthful guest's long black hair split into several strands, tying up Sun Lingtong and carrying him in a swift retreat. During the retreat, mechanical silent thunderbirds flew out from under the youthful guest's cloak one after another. The silent thunderbirds crashed into the ghostly wolf pack, occasionally exploding in lightning, shattering the ghost wolves. Qibai's figure soared, shooting towards the youthful guest. But in the next moment, the Immortal City Great Array rose, condensing countless array patterns in midair like a cage, blocking Qibai's attack route. Golden Core of the soul-devouring sect, deal with the array first, then come find me. The youthful guest sneered, carrying Sun Lingtong into the shadows of the alley. Interesting. Qibai looked at the surrounding array patterns intercepting him, and showing a tendency to shrink but remained unhurried, his demeanor composed and calm without a hint of tension. The youthful guest leaped several times, crossing 2 or 3 streets, and then dived into the sewers. The teleportation formation activated, and they soon entered an underground base. Of course, this was not the base where Han Ming was previously held. After some urgent treatment, Sun Lingtong still did not wake up. Not only that, but his life fire was gradually extinguishing. His injuries were too severe. Elixir pills were sent into Sun Lingtong's mouth and swiftly digested with the help of mana. Late Autumn Life-Saving Pill. This elixir pill was originally given by Zhu Xuenji to Yuan hoping to save Yuan Dasheng's life. After it changed hands, it eventually ended up with Ning Zhu. What came from the royal family indeed had excellent efficacy. With the use of the Late Autumn Life-Saving Pill, Sun Lingtong's life fire stabilized. But before Ning Zhu could breathe a sigh of relief, an overwhelming pressure came crashing down. Then the ground trembled, and a figure penetrated nearly 10 feet through the ground, arriving at this underground base. Blind, Judge Qibai's divine sense swiftly enveloped them. Where do you think you are going? Sun Lingtong has a unique mark planted by me. Heh, youthful guest, unless you abandon him, you can't possibly survive. Otherwise, you are doomed. The youthful guest's voice was hoarse, filled with anger. You talk too much. In the next moment, the array patterns reactivated, enveloping Qibai tightly. Again with this trick. Qibai snorted coldly, his expression disdainful. But in the next moment, the array patterns burst into brilliant light, pressing Qibai's nostrils, ears, and eyes to bleed. The youthful guest sneered. That base on the ground to prevent exposure and entangle Elder Sun, we deliberately held back. But here, deep underground, even if discovered, it will not implicate Elder Sun, so we can give it our all. Enjoy it, Qibai. The array patterns radiated dazzling light, eroding Qi-Bai's defenses like crazy. Damn it! Qi-Bai tightly closed his lips, sweeping aside his previous arrogance, fully resisting the Immortal City Great Array. Time returned to several years ago, in the underground base. Little Zhu, your mother was quite something as a mechanism cultivator, Sun Lingtong said, looking around the underground base in amazement. When Ning Zhu was cultivating mechanical techniques, he accidentally found a map hidden in the underground workshop. Following the map, they navigated through a section of sewers and eventually arrived at the underground base. Your mother had good intentions. She hid this mechanism map here specifically, so you could only open it when your mechanical skills reached the required standard. This place isn't quite safe, Sun Lingtong commented. I understand. Ning Zhu nodded. There is the Immortal City Great Array inside and outside Fire Persimmon Mountain. It is extremely difficult to carve out a secret space underground in the city. If we touch an array pattern, we will be discovered. The fact that this underground base has been hidden for so many years without being discovered is quite surprising. Sun Lingtong laughed. I get it now. Ning Zhu. What? Sun Lingtong. Under normal circumstances, the Immortal City Great Array is replanned and set up every interval. Although extremely costly, it ensures the array's reliability and prevents long-term enemies from discovering its details and crippling it at a critical moment. The situation at Fire Persimmon Immortal City may be somewhat unique, perhaps related to Magma Fairy Palace, causing the Immortal Array to not be reconfigured. Or perhaps one of the city lords was corrupt and did not properly renovate the Immortal City Great Array. Besides, Fire Persimmon Immortal City is located deep in the southern Bean Immortal Nation. Even if a war breaks out, it won't reach here immediately. Maybe the successive city lords thought they had enough time to adjust the formation when the fires of war erupted. Ning Zhu's eyes suddenly lit up. In that case, we can set up more of these underground bases. We just founded our gang. We need to maintain expenses by doing business. We can use the underground base for smuggling. It can also serve as our warehouse for stockpiles. Sun Lingtong clapped in praise. Brilliant. This way, we can raid other factions' warehouses, and they will never find ours. However, if this place were found, it wouldn't hold out for long due to its weak defenses. The underground base couldn't add defensive arrays, because any array's operation would interfere with the Immortal City Great Array. The City Lord's mansion would catch a clue from this and trace it down to here. Sun Lingtong touched his chin. I'll place some Bukong sect talismans later to minimize the presence here. When I reach Foundation Establishment Peak, I can barely use the magical treasures left by my master to set up some array patterns here. These patterns can connect weakly with the Immortal City Great Array. Even if discovered, they would mistake it for a part of the Immortal City Great Array. Ning Zhu widened his eyes in surprise. So powerful. Sun Lingtong smiled proudly. Our Bukong sect's skill in arrays is profound. Most valuable treasures in this world are protected by layers of arrays. This technique is called stealing arrays and siphoning power. In the future, when we have our headquarters, I'll use this technique there to siphon a lot of spiritual power from the Immortal City Great Array while paying very little. While ruling the black market and eliminating dissenters, the two of them led their subordinates, surrounding the headquarters of the enemy faction. Little Zhu, do you have confidence? Sun Lingtong transmitted. Elder son, just watch. Ning Zhu was confident. With a wave of his hand, the mechanism car rammed forward. Each car was loaded with many explosives. Bang, bang, bang. The enemy faction raised their defensive array and the explosion didn't kill anyone. The enemy members mocked. Ning Zhu observed with folded arms, clearly counting down. 3, 2, 1. At the count of 1, the enemy's defensive array suddenly collapsed, and the faction's high-ranking members suffered a backlash, either heavily injured or dead. Sun Lingtong cheered loudly and curiously transmitted. Little Zhu, how did you do it? Ning Zhu said. It's simple. Elder son, didn't you teach me the technique of stealing arrays and siphoning power? Sun Lingtong was even more curious. But I'm restricted by the sect's rules. I never taught you the related spells or talismans. Ning Zhu shrugged. Simple. You explained the principles and I achieved the same effect using other means. In practice, it works right. Ning Zhu looked at Sun Lingtong for approval. Sun Lingtong remained calm and nodded slightly. Not bad. Finally, they became the rulers of the black market. Sun Lingtong's face turned pale. Little Zhuo, is it necessary to secretly bury so many explosives in my residence? Ningzhu shook his head. Boss, it's necessary. We must be cautious, humble, and prevent any possible adverse situation. For instance, if a cultivator with a cultivation level far beyond ours came to cause trouble. Nascent soul level and above is too wide a gap to calculate, but golden core cultivators, we can give it a shot. That Fei Si is sinister and vicious, not a good person. One day he might personally come to eliminate our black market forces. We must be well prepared. Sun Lingtong could only nod helplessly. If a golden core comes, can't we run? Never mind. Being well prepared is always good. Chi Bai cast his spell, ghosts dancing wildly, cold winds roaring. The array patterns were pierced by countless ghosts, quickly dissipating. Chi Bai no longer held back, his long hair fluttering and his robes swirling, the golden core aura radiating everywhere. If it were the center of the immortal city's great array, I might not have a chance. But here, it's just the fringes of the array, and you merely borrowed part of the array's power by constructing supplementary arrays. How could that stop me? Chi Bai flicked his sleeve, sending out a fierce, ghostly wind, the howling sound threatening to pierce one's eardrums, attacking youthful guest and Sun Lingtong. Ningzhu, controlling the iron hand armor, carried the still unconscious Sun Lingtong without a trace of fear. Chi Bai, if you want to kill us, it's still too early. Come and get us if you dare. In the next moment, Ningzhu slapped the wall, triggering a hidden teleportation formation. He and Sun Lingtong were instantly teleported, disappearing from sight. Chi Bai roared in fury, immediately stopping his attack but still allowing the ghostly wind to destroy most of the teleportation formation. He flew to the teleportation formation, identifying the array and the materials, then cast a spell. Privately setting a teleportation array within the gaps of the immortal city's great array, there's virtually no room for real teleportation. Found it. Heh, do you think a few teleportation arrays can shake me off? Today, I will definitely kill you. Ningzhu and Sun Lingtong entered another underground base. Spell. Soul travel 1,000 miles. Chi Bai caught up in just a dozen breaths. Such speed brought significant pressure to Ningzhu. Golden core cultivators overwhelmingly crushed those at the foundation establishment stage. Chi Bai was far from an ordinary golden core. Coming from the soul-devouring sect, he possessed upper-class talent and was a true disciple of the sect. This meant he was absolutely an elite among golden core cultivators. Ningzhu continued to trigger the immortal city's great array, temporarily blocking Chi Bai. Chi Bai cast spells, wearing down the array patterns, coldly laughing. Excellent youthful guest, I'd like to see how many holes you've dug and nests you've set up in Fire Persimmon Immortal City. I'll tell you the truth, I planted a mark on Sun Lingtong. As long as you carry him, I will always find you. Heh heh, actually, as long as you stay in constant contact with Sun Lingtong, the mark's power will also extend to you. If you abandon him now, maybe I won't find you. Once the mark is set, you will be under my constant detection. I will relentlessly pursue you until you are tortured to death by me. Chi Bai's face was full of murderous intent. He didn't even understand why he was so furious, so enraged. He hoped that Ningzhu would abandon Sun Lingtong to save himself. But Ningzhu never did. He gritted his teeth in secret, teleporting away with Sun Lingtong once again. Ah! Chi Bai roared towards the sky, feeling like he was going crazy from Ningzhu's defiance. Boom, boom, boom. One underground base after another was overturned by Chi Bai. Such a tremendous commotion had long been detected by the city lord's mansion and reported to Fei Si. Fei Si hurriedly sent a flying message to report to Meng Kui. Meng Kui sat cross-legged on a meditation mat, hidden within layers of clouds and mist. Hearing the report, he couldn't help but smile, the walnuts in his hands rolling even more smoothly. A newly advanced golden core cultivator. Ghostly aura, seems like a soul-devouring sect technique. Could he be the Black Shadow Demon cultivator? Oh, and many underground bases have been exposed, all utilizing the gaps in the immortal city's great array. Meng Kui felt curious, eager to know what else was hiding in the vast Fire Persimmon immortal city. In a good mood, he sat calmly at the mountain's summit, watching the changing clouds and the fighting below with a serene demeanor. Of course, Meng Kui's main focus never left the Magma Fairy Palace. The battle in the Magma Fairy Palace was intense. Countless red flame demon beasts fell under the arrays, magical treasures, and various mechanisms. The demon beasts seemed endless. They broke through the first, second, and even the third defensive lines, which was on the brink of collapse. This caused the Ning family ancestor to frown. The offensive of these red flame demon beasts is so terrifying. No wonder the magma fairy palace is gradually floating up, unable to suppress Fire Persimmon Mountain any longer. He blended into the third defensive line, killing red flame demon beasts while looking around, searching for the secrets within the magma fairy palace. If the magma fairy palace is breached and even one building is overrun by demon beasts, my opportunity will come. The Ning family ancestor wasn't hasty. He patiently awaited his moment. Meanwhile, dozens of miles outside Fire Persimmon Mountain, Zhu Xuanji's eyes were shining with golden light as he cast a spell, surveying the mountain peak. His gaze pierced through the thick clouds, seeing the battlefield of the Magma Fairy Palace clearly. The Magma Fairy Palace is much weaker than I thought. What's going on with the Dragon Turtle Fire Spirit? Many places on the defensive line, given its capabilities, should be much better defended. Has it also suffered irreparable damage from the long-term suppression? Zhu Xuanji speculated. Meng Qi. Eventually, he fixed his gaze on the nascent soul cultivator hidden in the clouds and mist. You used the mountain gaze divine skill, leading to the swarm attack on the Magma Fairy Palace by demon beasts. If the palace is breached by demon beasts, Meng Qi, you won't be able to escape the blame. Your detached peach fate cores, you only have 2 of them. You'd better not mess this up. Zhu Xuanji came from the Divine Hunter office and was a member of the Southern Bean Country's royal family. He knew a lot about Meng Qi. He had personally been reminded by the Lord to pay special attention to Meng Qi's mountain gaze divine skill. Zhu Xuanji knew, although the mountain gaze divine skill was powerful and mystical, it had its drawbacks. Once cast, Meng Qi had to remain immobile, sitting on the mountain until the luck field dissipated. Otherwise, the backlash he would face would be terrifying. Not only would his physical body and soul be severely injured, but his fortune would also plummet and remain low for a long time. Meng Qi naturally understood this well, so he had chosen celestial materials and invited a master artifact refiner at great cost to create a pair of peach fate cores for him. With these 2 peach cores, he could directly interfere with people or objects within the luck field. Once the peach cores were thrown, they were incredibly powerful, with the first ability being an unerring hit. Additionally, they possessed other mysterious powers which even the royal family couldn't decipher. This was Meng Qi's core strategy, rarely used and thus kept highly confidential. Spell: multiple ghost shadows. Countless ghost shadows surrounded and danced around Qibai, rapidly wearing down the array patterns. Ningzhu triggered the teleportation array, vanishing on the spot. Qibai sensed Sun Lingtong's location, no longer underground but back on the surface. He laughed wildly, his face contorted. 10 or so underground bases, you've certainly managed well. Now what? What can you use to stop me? Boom. In the next moment, the underground base exploded in terrifying flames, engulfing Qibai instantly. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Ningzhu panted heavily. He had abandoned more than a dozen underground bases, continuously teleporting and retreating to wear down Qibai, all for this final moment. Elder Sun, this location is excellent. It's deep within Fire Persimmon Mountain, surrounded by arrays we can utilize to create a trap. When Ningzhu first discovered it, he was quite excited, sharing his idea. Sun Lingtong nodded, expressing approval, though his expression was somewhat strange. Little Zhu, you've seemed quite fascinated with explosions lately. Ningzhu nodded. Explosions are beautiful. I love explosions. No matter what is being detonated, they will all burst into their most brilliant and splendid forms in an instant. And the terrifying force unleashed in that instant is the culmination of countless suppressions in silence. It might only be for a moment, after which they are unrecognizable, even completely obliterated. But it's worth it. Sun Lingtong couldn't help but grind his teeth. In recent years, he noticed that Ningzhu had grown up, and his thoughts had become dangerously unpredictable. Often, he didn't know how to advise him, which made him worried. After pondering for a while, Sun Lingtong finally said, Little Zhu, life is long. There's no need to live too repressed, nor to pursue a fleeting moment of brilliance. We cultivators seek longevity, even eternity, don't we? Ningzhu nodded. Boss, I understand. As long as the green hills last, there will be wood to burn. Sun Lingtong nodded repeatedly. Yes, yes, you have always been smart. Be rational, be calm, and make the right choices. Ning Zhuo, you fool. Sun Lingtong transmitted his voice to Ning Zhuo. Ning Zhuo was delighted. Boss, you're finally awake. Sun Lingtong was extremely weak. Get lost. Qi Bai is not an ordinary golden core. He must have planted a mark on me, and you still came here. Don't forget we had an agreement. Ning Zhuo suddenly smiled. It's too late now, boss, he's here. Qi Bai, disheveled, reappeared. Compared to before, he indeed looked a bit disheveled. Ning Zhuo's heart sank, speaking in the tone of youthful guest. To think such an explosion didn't hurt you. Blind judge, you are indeed a formidable figure with a renowned name. Qi Bai's throat moved as he let out a mocking laugh. Realizing the gap between us now, truly senile. Don't think that a few flattering words will plead your case. Just die. With his words, the ghosts danced wildly, overwhelming everything. Ning Zhuo took a deep breath, stomped on the ground, and instantly countless silent thunderbirds flew out from the surrounding buildings. The thunderbirds self-destructed, clashing violently with the ghost army. For a moment, lightning flashed and ghosts howled, fighting to a near standstill. Qi Bai sneered, standing motionless in the high air. Suddenly, a single-horned ghost general appeared behind Ning Zhuo, swinging a ghostly saber horizontally. When did it sneak up? Unprepared, Ning Zhuo could only turn and use his left arm to block. The moment the saber slashed at his left arm, the Iron Han armor's mechanical left arm flashed with a silver shield. The shield shattered instantly, but bought Ning Zhuo the most crucial time. Ning Zhuo seized the opportunity, swiftly retreating to distance himself from the ghost general. A ghost general at the Foundation establishment peak, that ghost head broadsword is extraordinary. Ning Zhuo looked grim. He glanced at the silver shield artifact embedded in his left arm, noticing a crack just from a single strike. The ghost general vanished from his original spot. Ning Zhuo felt a chill in his heart. He desperately activated the Iron Han armor but couldn't detect any trace of the enemy. At the critical moment, Sun Lingtong warned, "Jump backward." Without hesitation, Ning Zhuo leapt backwards with all his might. The next instant, a ghostly figure appeared, solidifying rapidly. The ghost general wielding a battle axe struck at empty air. The second ghost general. Ning Zhuo's heart sank. "Jump again to the southeast." Sun Lingtong called out once more. His eyes shone brightly. Ning Zhuo dodged once more, finding himself up against a ghost general holding a spear. All three ghost generals were at the Foundation establishment peak, their attacks coming from nowhere in quick succession, leaving Ning Zhuo no choice but to flee in a disheveled manner, unable to counterattack. Sun Lingtong clung to the youthful guest's shoulder, pushing his talents to the limit. If not for his ability to barely perceive the nearby ghost generals, Ning Zhuo's situation would have been far worse. Little Zhuo, Qi Bai fights similarly to you. You control mechanism artifacts while he commands ghost generals. Sun Lingtong urgently transmitted. Don't get tangled up with these ghost generals. If escape isn't possible, then strike directly at their leader. Sun Lingtong, being a disciple of the Bukong sect, was decisive in combat. Given the current circumstances, he too stopped urging Ning Zhuo to retreat. Joining forces against the enemy was the best strategy. Ning Zhuo patted his storage waist belt, unleashing hundreds of mechanism artifacts. Although all of them were mass-produced items, their sheer number far exceeded normal standards. Even Qi Bai, a golden core cultivator, looked grim. A Foundation establishment youth can control so many mechanism beasts. He did not know that Ning Zhuo actually had only mid-stage Qi refinement cultivation. The apparent ability to control these mechanism artifacts was due to the staff heads embedded in them, though the key lay in the Buddha heart demon seal. These mechanisms had been implanted with heart seals, greatly reducing the burden on Ning Zhuo and making them extremely sensitive. The mechanism artifacts surged toward Qi Bai in waves. Qi Bai raised both hands, summoning a strong gust of sinister wind that blew away 30% of the mechanisms. He shouted, producing a parasol-shaped magical treasure. The parasol flew high, spreading open and casting a vast shadow. Under the shadow, the mechanism artifacts felt as if they were trapped in a swamp. They stopped moving and became extremely slow. This move neutralized another 50% of the mechanisms. Only 20% remained, charging towards him. Qi Bai had to retreat. This retreat immediately made Ning Zhuo and Sun Lingtong aware of something. Both Sun Lingtong and Ning Zhuo exclaimed, "Gloomy ghost realm!" This spell, when cast, could create a special battlefield, significantly boosting the combat power of ghosts and making them incredibly elusive. Ningxiu frowned. Ordinary people cast this spell amidst a billowing ghostly aura, changing the color of the skies. Qi Bai's use of it, however, is extremely subtle, almost imperceptible. Sun Lingtong replied, "He has the innate talent insight into the netherworld, making him naturally attuned to ghostly techniques, and the Tao, granting him extraordinary comprehension. Reaching such levels with this kind of spell is quite normal." Spell, Ghost Flame scorches the world. Qi Bai, while retreating, cast another spell. Ghastly green ghost fire burned soundlessly, extinguishing the remaining 20% of the mechanism artifacts swiftly and severing their connection to Ningxiu. Too strong, Qi Bai's strength was undoubtedly elite amongst golden core cultivators. Facing even the weakest of golden core cultivators was already extremely difficult for Ningxiu and his companions, let alone confronting Qi Bai directly. Ningxiu and Sun Lingtong soon found themselves in a hard-fought battle. Qi Bai's gloomy ghost realm was unleashed once more, silently and without any visible signs. Empowered by the realm, the three ghost generals at the Foundation establishment peak became silent and elusive again, forcing Ningxiu to rely solely on Sun Lingtong's warnings. Seeing the unfavorable situation, Ningxiu and Sun Lingtong tried to leave the battlefield. But at every critical moment, Qi Bai would personally intervene, casting spells to block Ningxiu and Sun Lingtong. Ningxiu, to sustain his position, continuously used mechanism artifacts. His painstaking accumulation of mechanisms over more than 10 years was rapidly depleting, and in return, he was merely able to prolong his survival on the battlefield. Magma Fairy Palace. A magma demon ape had just made its entrance, breaking through the third defensive line of the palace. Golden core level combat power. The demon ape led the charge, destroying every mechanism puppet in its path. Under the terrifying strength of the demon ape, the mechanisms crumbled as if made of paper, regardless of their materials. Boom! The palace trembled as the demon ape broke through the wall, rushing into a side hall. The dragon turtle fire spirit roared angrily, quickly sending mechanism puppets into the side hall. "There is hope!" The Ning family ancestor also received the message, directing him to aid in battle. The Ning family ancestor hesitated for a moment, but initially chose to refuse. He remained at the front line, fending off the wave of red flame demon beasts. The demon ape rampaged through the side hall, causing Meng Qi and Zhu Xuanji to frown deeply, both thinking, "The Magma Fairy Palace is this weak." In the next moment, a unique mechanism puppet descended gracefully. It emitted the aura of a golden core, wielding the 5 elements Qi regulation art. With a wave of its feather fan, 5 energies erupted, casting various spells on the demon ape, causing it to howl in pain. Meng Qi watched with amazement, closely observing. "Taoist Master!" Zhu Xuanji whispered inwardly, revealing the name of the golden core level mechanism. According to the royal intelligence, the Magma Fairy Palace housed 3 major mechanism war generals: the Demon General, the Taoist Master, and the Buddhist Physician. With the Taoist Master now present, the demon ape's assault was immediately curbed. The Taoist Master mechanism puppet, taking advantage of its geographical advantage, quickly drove the demon ape out of the side hall, forcing it into a retreat. Opportunity! Seizing this delicate situation, the Ning family ancestor abandoned the front line and rushed toward the side hall. He had just received permission from the dragon turtle fire spirit, so even if he went into the hall to extinguish the flames, he would still be contributing to the battle and would not be considered a deserter by the dragon turtle fire spirit. While the contribution from extinguishing the fire was minimal, the Ning family ancestor was more interested in exploring the side hall. Meng Qi observed this scene unfold, sighing softly as he tossed a peach pit into the air. The peach pit vanished and then fell from the sky, shooting straight toward the Ning family ancestor's head. A bright green spring thunder flashed, breaking through layers of clouds. The Ning family ancestor defended with all his might, but the spring thunder tore through his multiple defenses. The peach pit smashed through several layers of protection, striking the Ning family ancestor's head directly. He let out a cry as his head was dented by the blow. The power of the thunder coursed through him, leaving him nearly paralyzed. He hastily cast a spell to freeze his internal organs, temporarily preserving his life. Without looking back, he fled the Immortal Palace. The youthful guest's whip, Ningzhuo's long whip, lashed out, dispersing the approaching ghosts. However, he was surrounded, with countless ghosts closing in on him. Qi Bai's methods were endless, and his ghostly minions seemed limitless. Throughout the battle, Qi Bai only retreated once of his own accord. For the rest of the time, he firmly held the upper hand. Ningzhuo and Sun Lingtong were in a perilous position, with their lives hanging by a thread. In a desperate move, Ningzhuo had no choice but to reveal one of his trump cards early. Boom, boom, boom. Multiple explosions occurred inside and outside the battlefield. Qi Bai sneered. "What are you blowing up? I'm right here." Ningzhuo replied. "I'm blowing up the Immortal City formation." Qi Bai's expression changed drastically. The next moment, a colossal array pattern was revealed, crisscrossing and covering the entire battlefield. The Immortal Array's power was vast and irresistible, targeting everyone and everything on the battlefield. Ningzhuo's remaining mechanism artifacts were few, and he didn't mind losing them. Qi Bai's ghostly army, however, was decimated in an instant. Even Qi Bai himself was bound in midair, being ground down by the array. Ningzhuo and Sun Lingtong didn't seize the chance to attack. They too were ensnared by the array, but being residents of the city, they were merely immobilized. Qi Bai was furious. His ghostly army, accumulated over many years, was now completely wiped out, causing him immense pain. More heartbreaking for him were his 3 ghost generals, each meticulously cultivated to possess Foundation Establishment peak combat power. Gone. The power of the Immortal City formation was frightening, capable of protecting the entire city when fully activated. This being one of the strongest nodes, the 3 ghost generals with Foundation Establishment power had no chance to resist and were crushed, leaving only their soul essences. "Break for me!" Qi Bai roared, his face twisted in rage. He had to resist with all his strength, or he would be ground to dust by the array. Spell Netherfire Fierce Hell. Spell Ghost Shadow Senluo. Spell Netherworld Ghost Cry. The ghost fire turned from ghastly green to a sickly yellow-green, burning fiercely with 6-foot-high flames. Ghost shadows rose like giants, arms reaching to the sky, attempting to break the array's binds. The shrieks of the ghost cries were piercing, burrowing into people's minds, shaking the entire battlefield. Qi Bai cast 3 spells in quick succession, using his insight into the Netherworld talent to amplify their power several folds. For a moment, the array patterns wavered, rapidly dissolving. The restraints on Ningzhuo loosened swiftly, allowing him to gradually regain his freedom. "So strong!" Sun Lingtong exclaimed, his face shocked. This was the Immortal City array, yet Qi Bai with his strength alone could shake it. This was Qi Bai's appearance when attacking with full force. The previous battles had never forced him to truly go all out. The gap in combat power was too vast. Ningzhuo wasn't shaken at all. He had anticipated this disparity in power. He looked up at the Huoshi mountain summit, his eyes filled with expectation, and murmured softly, come on, hurry up." Atop the mountain, the sky was clear. Meng Qi slightly turned his head, frowning, and watched Qi Bai's battlefield from afar. In all corners of the Immortal City, countless battles erupted simultaneously. Many conflicts arose from minor misunderstandings or small frictions. Observed from the sidelines, fate is boiling. This grand maneuver has reached its climactic peak, and the end isn't far off. Meng Qi felt a moment of realization. His pupils reflected Qi Bai's arrogant posture, crystal clear. "To think you would dare to challenge the Immortal City array. Even though you are a true disciple of the soul-devouring sect, you shouldn't be this brazen. Go!" Meng Qi once again tossed out a peach pit. The peach pit descended from the sky, accompanied by a spring thunder. The thunder exploded, striking Qi Bai, turning his eyes upwards and splitting his head open. "Ah!" He let out a tragic cry, his spell interrupted, suffering a backlash. The fiercer the spell, the stronger the backlash when interrupted. In an instant, Qi Bai was gravely injured. Now is the moment. Ningzhuo's painstakingly laid plans finally bore fruit. He had set the explosives to disrupt the Immortal City formation. Triggering the Immortal Array was more to provoke Meng Qi into action. Whenever I wanted to intervene, either to scout Elder Sun's situation or to rescue him, I would get a warning from the Buddha Heart Demon Seal. This is highly unusual. The most likely reason is that Meng Qi cast his Mountain Gaze divine skill. Ningzhuo's intelligence network was far inferior to Zhu Xuanji's, but he was still aware of Meng Qi's most formidable techniques. When Meng Kui uses Mountain Gaze, during its duration, he can only use those outsider peaches. These are nascent soul-level offensive techniques. Ji Bai might be formidable, but he is merely a golden core. Meng Kui set the stage, and Ning Zhu laid the trap. Meng Kui, you sit high on the mountain top. But when a powerful foe threatens to destroy the Immortal city array, will you act or not? To defeat Ji Bai, I bet you'll at least throw a peach pit. To save elder son, Ning Zhu engaged personally despite the uncertain fortune. But he never considered himself just a pawn. Even a nascent soul might not be impossible to leverage.